It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the last weekend of September 1998, September 25th to be exact. We got 6 movies to look at today, so let's just go ahead and jump on into them. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, Robert De Niro and John Frankenheimer's Ronin.
Who walk into a place I don't know how to walk out of. That's the first thing they teach you.
In a world of covert operatives, he was given an assignment.
This is what we're after.
I want 100,000 up front. I want another 100,000 when you get the case.
But there was more to the mission
Get out of here. Walk away.
than he ever imagined.
The girl sold us out.
Robert De Niro, Ronin, rated R, starts September 25th.
So the premise of Ronin is that you're following a team of former special operatives hired to steal a mysterious, heavily guarded briefcase while navigating a maze of shifting loyalties. And this is a film that's been very much praised for its realistic car chases in the cities of Nice and also Paris. And you know what? When you have professional race car drivers coordinating and helping to perform the stunts, you gotta kind of expect that. This is a great movie, man. This is a great film. One of John Frankenheimer's last great movies, if not his last really great film, with a cast that includes De Niro, Jean Reno, Natasha McElhonney, Stellan Skarsgård, Sean Bean, Jonathan Pryce. Just top-notch cast in this. The action sequences are top-notch as well. Like I said, the car chases are really damn good. The action overall is very good as well, I should say. The visuals overall are very well done. Like, there is a lot going on in this movie, and the script overall is also very solid as well. But then again, when you have somebody like David Mamet coming in to do some of the rewrites on there, you can kind of expect this to have more of an edge to it than some of these other movies that would have been similar, but from a different director. Not much more to say about this one. This is definitely an underrated classic action movie. If you haven't seen Ronin, definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed by it. So with that said, on to the next movie, and that is Urban Legend.
Contemporary folklore passed on as a true story. This is what we call urban legend.
On September 25th,
Isn't there another story about a guy with an axe hiding in a woman's backseat?
the legend
What is it going to be next? Spider eggs and bubble gum?
are coming to life.
Why isn't anyone listening to me? Call 911!
This girl, she could have been any one of us.
Everything you heard, it's true. Urban Legend, rated R, only everywhere September 20th.
Basically, you have a series of murders on the campus of this private New England university, all of which appear to be modeled after popular urban legends, and you have a young cast of notable talents such as Jared Leto, Alicia Witt, Rebecca Gayheart, Tara Reid, Michael Rosenbaum, and also people like Robert Englund, Loretta Devine, John Neville, and Brad Dourif. It went on to become a big hit. It surpassed $72 million worldwide on a $14 million budget. It became a huge hit, but doesn't make it a good movie. It's basically just a kind of a ripoff of Scream, quite honestly. It's not even a good ripoff of Scream. I mean, there's elements that you could literally tell they plucked from Scream and took it from this movie because Sony wanted their own Scream, even though they had I Know What You Did Last Summer and the infamous I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but I digress. It's also you can kind of tell who the bad guy is going to be pretty quickly, or the bad girl in this case. Let's make it so that everybody's a suspect in this, and like I said, you'll be able to figure it out almost immediately when you see what happens there. But I don't know. I just don't get why this became such a success, because it's not really that interesting of a movie. It doesn't have a whole lot of good scary moments in there. It's kind of a generic, mediocre film that teenagers bought back then and became a huge franchise in the process. So I guess there's someone out there for it, I guess, but not me. But that's Urban Legend. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here. Edward Furlong and Christina Ricci starring in Pecker.
Pecker!
My name is Pecker.
Pecker is about to go from small-town Rogue
You want to buy it? I'd love to give you a show in my New York gallery.
to New York City Vogue.
I don't want to be in Vogue. Everybody wants to be in Vogue.
Edward Furlong, Christina Ricci, Martha Plimpton, Brendan Sexton III, Link Stoll, Patricia Hearst, Mary Kay Place, and Lily Taylor in a new film directed by John Waters.
We're all famous, just like the Jackson family.
Pecker, rated R.
Insert obvious dick jokes here. This is actually John Waters' second attempt to try to make a mainstream movie. The first one was Cry Baby from 1990 with Johnny Depp, which was not the big success, but it did have a cult following. This one has about the same kind of cult following, especially with John Waters' movies. You have basically, Edward Furlong plays this photographer who has the rise to fame and potential fortunes. He also has Christina Ricci, Lily Taylor, Mary Kay Place, Martha Plimpton, Brendan Sexton III, and Bess Armstrong among the cast. And it's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty solid film. Another movie that shows the power of what Christina Ricci's become at this point, because there were so many movies that she was in 1998, all good films that showcased her potential as a leading actress. And there's another one that really works, and Edward Furlong's kind of fun in this movie. I mean, he's not the best. It's not the best performance overall of him, but it's a very different role than what we're used to seeing from him. Nobody ever really talks about this performance besides from Edward Furlong. I mean, he was a really good actor for a number of years, even after Terminator 2. But like, this is probably his most notable film he did after Terminator 2, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a fun little movie. I mean, it's a fun movie. Even if you're not the biggest John Waters fan, you can still find a lot to really admire about the movie. It's very funny, very visually interesting to look at, and it has a lot of enjoyable moments to it. I highly recommend it. Pecker. So with that said, on to the next movie, and that is Clay Pigeons.
If they know the man they're really looking for, you're out with someone. Big fraud. Go out below. Joaquin Phoenix. Clay Pigeons.
The directorial debut for David Dobkin, who of course would go on to become a prolific director in his own right, with stuff like Wedding Crashers, Shanghai Nights, Fred Claus, a number of notable films. You have Joaquin Phoenix playing Clay in this, who's a young man in a small town who witnesses his friend kill himself because of the ongoing affair that Clay was having with the man's wife, and feeling guilty, he now resists the widow when she presses him to continue with their sexual affairs, and Clay befriends a troubling serial killer as well. I've never seen the movie. I know this director, David Dobkin, has made some pretty good stuff over the years, some not so good stuff too, but I've never got around to see this movie. It's one I've heard about for the longest time. I just never really got around to watching it. The reviews for it have not been the best. They're not the worst, but they're kind of right in the middle. They're like at 61, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, which, as you know, I don't usually like to use that as a reference point. But I digress. I mean, it could be good. It could be something interesting. It's produced by Tony and Ridley Scott. It was actually a film that was developed under them, and of course, their Scott Free Productions is on there as well. And that's really all I know about this movie. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not, but it came out this weekend. That's Clay Pigeons. So on to the next movie, and I swear when I saw this, I thought this was the exact same movie, but it's not. It's Dennis Leary in Monument Avenue.
Hey, I didn't tell you the story that time last working at Yuppie Pub. Jim, did you hear the story? Yeah, this is a great fucking story. This is fucking hilarious. There was a place up in Monument Avenue that my son was looking at for a long time to play kids. It was going to be the two of us together, but other some was real fucking with it. I don't know where they were.
There was no trailer for it, so I can only get a little bit of a clip there. But Monument Avenue, which was originally called Snitch, and then in the U.S., and then later titled Noose in Australia, you figure that out. You basically have a story that takes place in Charleston, Massachusetts, and centers on the small-time criminal played by Dennis Leary, who becomes conflicted due to Charleston's code of silence. His loyalty and drive for self-preservation are tested after two of his closest family members are gunned down by their boss. And this also includes Martin Sheen, Famke Janssen, Ian Hart, Lenny Clark, Cam Neely has a cameo in here as well. Gene Triplehorn's in the cast as well. Billy Crudup. So notable names in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was kind of a precursor to what we'd see later on from Dennis Leary, with stuff like The Job and Rescue Me, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. More of a dramatic performance coming from him in those shows. And I think it kind of started with this particular film, if I'm not mistaken. But I haven't seen it, so I can't really confirm that to be certain. But just a thought that kind of went through my mind when I watched that little clip there. But yeah, not much more to say. That's Monument Avenue. So on to the last movie, and that is the Brandon Teena story.
Every woman's dream. If Brandon really was a man, oh Jesus, he would have women after him all the time. He knew how to please you. He knew how to do everything right.
Another one of those movies that's very much ahead of its time, I would think. This is a documentary about Brandon Teena, who was a transgender man who was murdered along with two others in 1993 in rural Nebraska. And the story is told through interviews with people who knew Brandon, recorded interrogations and trial transcripts, and photographs and file film footage. And supposedly this was the inspiration for the movie Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank, in which she won an Oscar for that one. But I never knew about this story before, so I don't really know if it's any. I've never even seen this movie either, so needless to say, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. But could be a pretty interesting little documentary about a story that pretty much is something that could be told nowadays. I think this was something that was a little bit ahead of its time, really, like I said before. But that's pretty much all I know about this one. So might check it out one day, but I'm not really rushing out to see it, though. That's the Brandon Teena story. So with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll jump into October with 7 movies, a couple of notable movies, too. We have Ants, which was part of a big controversy at the time, along with what Disney was going to put out a couple weeks later. We also have Robin Williams' What Dreams May Come, A Night at the Roxbury, the latest attempt to turn an SNL sketch into a hit movie. We have Strangeland, The Imposters, Bicycle Thieves, and Hit Me. So 7 movies to look at next time around, and we will look at those next time. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.